The Bentley Continental screeched to a halt as the German Shepherd appeared in the headlights, not running, but standing frozen in the blizzard. Jonathan Hayes had seen strays before, but never one that wept. The dog's cry cut through the howling wind like a child's scream. Blood trailed from her hind leg across the snow. She didn't flee when he opened the door. Instead, she bit gently into his $5,000 cashmere sleeve and pulled. The alley reeked of decay. Jonathan's phone flashlight found her a puppy, purple-tinged and convulsing inside a frozen dumpster. A gunshot wound pierced her tiny abdomen. Beside her lay a crumpled note in crude handwriting. Trash belongs in trash. The mother dog collapsed at his feet, trembling. Jonathan lifted the dying puppy. But when he looked into the mother's eyes, desperate, pleading, somehow familiar, his breath caught. Those eyes, he'd seen them before. Somewhere, long ago. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments, along with the city you're watching from. Now let's continue with the story. Jonathan wrapped the puppy in his cashmere coat. The fabric turned crimson instantly. The mother dog leaped into the Bentley's leather interior without hesitation, positioning herself beside the dying pup. 95 miles per hour through a blizzard. Jonathan's hands gripped the wheel as the GPS directed him to Manhattan Emergency Vet, the only facility open, at 11:53 p.m. The puppy stopped breathing twice. Each time, Jonathan pressed his palm against the tiny chest, feeling for a heartbeat that grew fainter with each passing second. The mother dog never took her eyes off her baby. She licked Jonathan's hand once, twice, 3 times. Not aggressive. Pleading. The car radio crackled. Snowstorm upgraded to level 3. All hospitals advising against new admissions due to Jonathan switched it off. He ran every red light. The emergency vet's fluorescent lights blazed against the darkness. Jonathan burst through the doors, the puppy limp in his arms. The mother dog stayed plastered to his leg. Behind the reception desk sat Diane Cooper, a middle-aged woman with severely pulled back hair and thin lips. She didn't look up from her computer. "We require $8,000 deposit before treatment." Jonathan yanked out his American Express black card. "Whatever it takes." Diane swiped it. The machine beeped. Her expression didn't change. "Declined. That's impossible. Run it again." She did. Same result. "The system flags unusual late-night transactions as potential fraud. Your account is temporarily frozen." "Then I'll wire. Our bank doesn't process transfers until 9 a.m. The puppy convulsed in Jonathan's arms. Foam bubbled from her mouth. "She has minutes." Jonathan's voice cracked. "I'm Jonathan Hayes, CEO of Technova Solutions. I'm worth $200 million. I will pay you." "Sir, without payment, I cannot." He tore the Patek Philippe from his wrist, $280,000 of Swiss craftsmanship, and slammed it on the counter. Hold this as collateral." Diane shook her head. "I'm not authorized to accept property in lieu of payment. Company policy." The mother dog released a sound Jonathan had never heard an animal make. She dropped to her front legs before Diane, placed one paw on the woman's knee, a gesture of supplication, and keened. Diane recoiled. "Don't let it touch me. Strays carry disease." Jonathan's fist connected with the wall beside Diane's head. Drywall crumbled. Blood seeped from his knuckles. "If this puppy dies because of your policy, I will burn this place to the ground." Security. A door behind the desk flew open. A woman in surgical scrubs ran out late 20s. Dark hair pulled into a messy bun, exhaustion carved into her face. Dr. Emily Parker, according to her name tag. Her eyes went to the puppy, then to the mother dog. Emily's face went white. 15 minutes, she whispered. Maybe less. She took the puppy from Jonathan's arms. Bring them both, now. As Emily rushed toward the operating room, she glanced back at the mother dog. Tears streamed down her face. Hope. Emily's voice broke. My God. Hope. Is that really you? The operating room doors swung shut. Jonathan stood in the sterile hallway. The mother dog pressed against his legs. She wouldn't move, wouldn't sit, just stared at those closed doors with an intensity that made his chest ache. He pulled out his phone, called his bank's emergency line. Busy signal, called again. The automated system offered no option for, my dog is dying. The mother dog Hope? Emily had called her whimpered, not the desperate keen from before. This was quieter, resigned, like she'd already accepted what was coming. Jonathan slid down the wall to sit beside her. She immediately placed her head on his lap. The weight felt impossibly heavy. 15 years ago, the Queensboro Bridge collapse. Jonathan had been driving home from a late meeting when the cables snapped. His Mercedes plunged 30 feet. He remembered the impact. The windshield spider webbing. Then nothing, just blackness and pain. When he woke in the hospital, they told him a search and rescue dog had pulled him from the wreckage. Broken ribs, fractured skull, internal bleeding. The doctor said another 10 minutes and he would have died. He never learned the dog's name. The head injury had stolen those memories. Jonathan looked down at Hope, at the scars crossing her muzzle, the way her left ear had a chunk missing. Those eyes golden brown, ancient, knowing. Could it be the operating room doors opened? Emily emerged, her surgical gown splattered with blood. She pulled down her mask. Her hands shook. The surgery's done. But the puppy, her name is Faith, now needs a blood transfusion immediately. Type DEA 1.1. It's rare. Take it from Hope. Emily's expression crumpled. I can't. Hope's already severely anemic. She's lost too much blood. If I take more, I'll kill her to save Faith. Jonathan stood. Then find another donor. At midnight, in a blizzard, every blood bank is closed. Every other vet clinic is closed. Emily's voice climbed toward hysteria. I have maybe 90 minutes before Faith's organs start shutting down. There has to be something. Emily pressed her fingers against her temples. She pulled a small device from her pocket, a microchip scanner. Let me at least check Hope's registration. Maybe her owners have resources we don't. She ran the scanner over Hope's neck. It beeped. The screen lit up registered name, Hope, date of birth, March 2009. Primary owner, Captain Robert Parker. FDNY Station 47, status missing. September 2019. Emily staggered backward. The scanner clattered to the floor. This is my father's dog. Her voice was barely audible. Dad died in 2018. Brooklyn warehouse fire. He died trying to save... She choked on the words. We sold Hope after the funeral. I couldn't look at her. She reminded me too much of him. Who did you sell her to? A rescue organization. They said she'd be rehomed to a good family. Emily's face hardened. But if she's been missing since 2019, if she's covered in scars, If she was thrown away with a bullet wound? She looked at Jonathan. Someone bought my father's dog and tortured her. The fluorescent lights hummed. Somewhere down the hall, a phone rang unanswered. Diane appeared in the hallway. For the first time, her expression had shifted, almost helpful. Dr. Parker, I may have a solution. She held out a business card. Plain white, black text. Red Hook Pet Sanctuary in Brooklyn. They operate a large-scale rescue. I've referred clients there before. They maintain a blood bank for emergencies. Jonathan grabbed the card. Why didn't you mention this earlier? Diane's face remained neutral. They require discretion and a signature. What kind of signature? A waiver, agreeing not to investigate the source of the blood or the origin of the dogs in their care. She paused. They rescue from complicated situations. Emily snatched the card. I don't care if they rescue from Mars. If they have DEA 1.1, we need it now. Jonathan was already moving toward the door. I'll go. How much time do we have? Faith needs the transfusion within 90 minutes. Red Hook is a 30-minute drive. If the roads are clear. Emily grabbed his arm. Jonathan, sign whatever they ask. We don't have a choice. He was halfway to his car when he realized Hope hadn't followed him. She remained in the hallway, lying directly in front of the operating room door. Guarding Faith, Emily knelt beside Hope, stroking her scarred head. I'll take care of her, I promise. The blizzard had eased to light snow. Jonathan's Bentley cut through empty streets. The address led him deep into Brooklyn's industrial district. Abandoned warehouses, rusted chain-link fences, no streetlights. Red Hook Pet Sanctuary was a concrete building with barred windows, no signs, no indication of what happened inside. Jonathan parked, checked his phone. 1:17 a.m. 73 minutes left. He approached the steel door. Before he could knock, it opened. A large man stepped out of the shadows. White, late 20s, muscular build. A scar ran from his left eye to his jaw. You must be Mr. Hayes. The man's voice was surprisingly gentle. I'm Marcus Bennett. Diane called ahead. He studied Jonathan. You need blood for a puppy, and you're willing to sign the waiver. Yes, whatever it takes. Marcus gestured inside. Then come with me, alone. The interior was dimly lit, industrial, cold. As Jonathan's eyes adjusted, he saw them dozens of metal crates lining the walls, German shepherds, Rottweilers, pit bulls, at least 50 dogs. None of them barked, none moved. They just lay in their crates, silent and still, with hollow eyes. Jonathan's stomach turned. What is this place? Marcus walked to a metal cabinet, pulling out bags of blood. We rescue dogs that nobody wants. Dogs from bad situations. The blood is clean, tested. $600 per unit. Fine, I need 4 units. Jonathan pulled out his emergency cash. He always kept $5,000 in his car. As he counted bills, his eyes drifted to the far wall. A whiteboard, names written in marker. Next to each name, win or loss. Dates, dollar amounts. His blood went cold. This is a fighting ring. Marcus turned slowly. His expression hadn't changed. You signed a waiver, agreeing not to ask questions. Those dogs, you're using them to... Mr. Hayes. Marcus's voice remained calm. Do you want the blood or not? Your puppy has 68 minutes. Jonathan's hands clenched. Every instinct screamed to call the police, to tear this place apart. But Faith was dying. He threw the money on the table. Marcus collected it. Then he did something unexpected. He sighed, rubbed his face with both hands. You remind me of someone I used to be. Marcus's voice had changed, softer. 6 years ago, I had a dog. Beautiful German shepherd named Atlas. Someone stole him, forced him to fight. By the time I found him, he didn't finish. I'm sorry, Jonathan said, and meant it. After Atlas died, I started working here. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. Marcus met his eyes. But I've been documenting everything. 2 years of evidence, video, financial records, client lists, all on this. He pulled a USB drive from his pocket. Why are you telling me this? Because you have something I don't. Money, influence, power. Marcus handed Jonathan the drive. The man who runs this operation is Vincent Shaw. He's connected, protected. His brother-in-law is Manhattan's chief of police. I can't touch him. But someone like you want me to expose him. I want you to destroy him. Marcus's jaw tightened. But there's a problem. The files are encrypted. I have the first half of the password. My partner has the second half. Who's your partner? You've already met her, Dr. Emily Parker. Jonathan's mind reeled. Emily is working with you. She infiltrated this operation 6 months ago. Her father, Captain Parker, was investigating this ring when he died. Emily thinks Vincent Shaw killed him. Made it look like an accident. A phone rang. Marcus answered, listened. His face drained of color. He hung up and looked at Jonathan. That was one of our spotters. Vincent Shaw just arrived at Manhattan Emergency Vet. He's claiming ownership of Hope. Marcus's voice shook. He has paperwork proving he bought her in 2019. Legal documentation. He's taking her back right now. Jonathan was already running to his car when Marcus caught his arm. Wait. You can't just storm in there. Watch me. Jonathan yanked free. Vincent Shaw doesn't know who he's dealing with. Yes, he does. Marcus's grip tightened. That's the problem. Vincent knows exactly who you are. CEO of Technova Solutions, worth $200 million, and he knows you have zero legal claim to Hope. Jonathan's phone rang. Emily. He answered on speaker. Jonathan. There's a man here with police. He has ownership papers for Hope, registration certificates, purchase receipts from 2019. Her voice cracked. They're putting a muzzle on her. They're taking her. Stall them. I'm 15 minutes away. I can't. The police said if I interfere, they'll arrest me for obstruction. A pause. Jonathan. This man, Vincent Shaw, he kicked Hope right in front of me. She tried to run to the operating room where Faith is, and he kicked her so hard she yelped. The phone nearly shattered in Jonathan's hand. Marcus was already pulling him back toward the warehouse. Listen to me. You go there now. You lose. Vincent has the law on his side. But I have something better. Inside. Marcus led Jonathan to a back office. He locked the door and opened a laptop. The screen filled with video files. Dozens of them. This is 2 years of documentation. Vincent Shaw running illegal dog-fighting operations across 3 states. Money laundering through his real estate company. Animal cruelty. Extortion. Marcus clicked through folders. I have everything. Bank transfers, client communications, video of the fights themselves. Then why haven't you gone to the police? Because Vincent's brother-in-law isn't just a police chief. He's on the take. Half the department is... Marcus's face hardened. I tried once. Anonymous tip. The investigating officer turned up dead 2 weeks later. Ruled a suicide. Jonathan stared at the screen. How do you have access to all this? Because I work for Vincent. I've worked for him for 5 years. Marcus pulled up his sleeve, revealing burn scars on his forearm. Not by choice. He told the story quickly. His sister Sarah, 14 years old, kidnapped by human traffickers in 2019. Missing for 6 weeks. Marcus had sold everything, hired private investigators, got nowhere. Then Vincent Shaw appeared with an offer Sarah's safe return in exchange for 5 years of service. He had connections to the trafficking ring. He got Sarah back unharmed. Marcus's voice went hollow. But the price was me. 5 years working in his operation. Doing things I'll never forgive myself for. Is that why you're collecting evidence? I have 8 months left on my contract. Then Sarah and I disappear. But before I go, I want Vincent destroyed. Marcus ejected the USB drive and held it out. You have the money to hire lawyers Vincent can't bribe. The media connections he can't silence. The political influence he can't match. Help me, and I'll help you save Hope. Jonathan took the drive. What's on here? Everything. But it's encrypted. The password is split between me and Emily. Security measure. If Vincent catches one of us, he can't access the files. Marcus wrote down a series of numbers. This is my half. Emily has hers. Why Emily? Because her father, Captain Parker, was close to exposing Vincent when he died. Emily's been investigating for 6 years. When she heard I was on the inside, we formed an alliance. Marcus met Jonathan's eyes. We can take Vincent down. But we need to move fast. Once he has Hope back, he'll kill her. Tonight. Why would he kill his own dog? Marcus pulled up a video file. It showed Hope in a fighting pit, younger, stronger. She was losing to a larger Rottweiler. The video cut to Hope in a cage, bloodied and defeated. Hope was Vincent's prizefighter 4 years ago, 47 wins. Then she started losing, got too old, too slow. Marcus closed the laptop. In Vincent's world, losers are disposed of. He's kept her alive this long because she can breed. But she's 15 now. Past breeding age. He's going to cut his losses. Jonathan felt sick. And Faith. Faith isn't Hope's biological puppy. The world tilted. Marcus continued. There was another dog, Luna, pregnant German Shepherd. She died giving birth last night. Vincent ordered me to kill the whole litter's 6 puppies. I could only save one. His voice dropped. I put that puppy with Hope because she was being transported to disposal anyway. I thought if someone found them, maybe both would survive. You put Faith with Hope knowing they'd both be thrown away. I gave them a chance, which is more than Vincent would have done. Marcus stood. Hope adopted Faith instantly. Fed her, kept her warm, protected her. I've seen a lot of dogs in this business, Mr. Hayes. But I've never seen a mother's love like that. Not biological, just pure. Jonathan's throat tightened. Where's Luna now? In the back, still alive, barely. She needs a cesarean section to remove the dead tissue. or she'll die from infection. Marcus gestured down a dark hallway. I was going to put her down tonight. Mercy. But if you help me take down Vincent, I'll do everything I can to save Luna too. She can provide blood for Faith long term. It was too convenient, too perfect. But Jonathan didn't have options. What do you need me to do? Marcus opened a drawer and pulled out legal documents. Vincent will kill Hope at 6 a.m., execution style. That gives us 6 hours. He spread the papers on the desk. But first, you need to sign this. Official adoption papers for Faith. Emergency medical proxy. It establishes legal grounds for you to be involved in this case. Jonathan signed without reading. Marcus made a phone call, spoke quietly in Spanish, hung up. Emily's getting Hope out of that building. Diane is helping. She's FBI. Jonathan, undercover for 3 years. Marcus grabbed a jacket. We're moving Hope and Faith to a safe location, somewhere Vincent can't reach them. Then we finalize our evidence and go to the federal prosecutor. Federal. This crosses state lines. Federal jurisdiction means Vincent's local connections are worthless. Marcus headed for the door. Come on, we need to move before his phone rang. He glanced at the screen and his face went white. It's Vincent. He answered on speaker. Vincent Shaw's voice was smooth, educated, terrifying in its calmness. Marcus, I understand we had a visitor tonight. Jonathan Hayes, CEO, very rich, very stupid. Marcus's hand shook. I gave him the blood like you instructed. I know. Diane told me everything. A pause. She also told me about your little USB drive, your evidence, your partnership with the veterinarian. The floor dropped out from under Jonathan. Vincent continued. I've known about your betrayal for 18 months. Marcus, did you really think I'd let you operate freely? I've been feeding you false evidence. Useless files. Red herrings. He laughed. And Emily Parker, please. She's been working for me since the day her father died. Killed by my order, in case you're wondering. Marcus couldn't speak. But thank you for bringing Mr. Hayes into this. I've been looking for a reason to permanently retire Hope. And now I have witnesses to her aggressive behavior toward a stranger. Self-defense killing. Perfectly legal. Vincent's voice turned ice cold. Oh. And Marcus, I just texted your sister's address to my associates. They'll be there in 20 minutes. Unless you return Hope to me. Immediately. The line went dead. Marcus looked at Jonathan, eyes wild with panic. He has Sarah. He's going to... Where is Hope right now? Emily took her to a safe house in Queens. But if Vincent knows about Emily... Marcus grabbed his keys. We need to get there first. They ran for the cars. Jonathan's mind raced. Nothing made sense. If Emily was working for Vincent, why did she save Faith? Why the tears when she saw Hope? Unless that was all performance. Marcus was already speeding out of the parking lot. Jonathan followed, his Bentley struggling to keep pace through narrow Brooklyn streets. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Emily's voice, frantic. Jonathan, don't trust Marcus. He's the one who marked Hope for disposal. He shot her. I have proof. The line cut to static. Then Marcus's voice came through Jonathan's car speakers. His Bluetooth must have connected to Marcus's phone accidentally. Marcus was talking to someone. I have Hayes exactly where we need him. He signed the adoption papers. He's legally liable now. Another voice. Female. Familiar. Diane. Good. Vincent wants Hayes implicated in the dogfighting ring. Rich CEO trying to buy illegal fighting dogs. The story writes itself. Marcus and Hope. Diane. Vincent's waiting at the safe house. He'll kill her in front of Hayes. Make it look like Hayes brought her there. Then we bury them both. The connection died. Jonathan's hands locked on the steering wheel. He was following Marcus directly into a trap. Hope was already captured. Emily was either a double agent or a victim. And he'd signed documents that could frame him for everything. His phone rang again. Different number. Mr. Hayes. A woman's voice. Cold. Professional. This is Special Agent Victoria Chen, FBI. Pull over immediately. You're heading into an active crime scene. Jonathan slammed the brakes. The Bentley fishtailed on ice before stopping on a deserted overpass. Marcus's tail lights disappeared into the distance. Mr. Hayes, are you stopped? Agent Chen's voice was sharp. Who the hell are you, FBI Animal Cruelty Task Force? We've had Vincent Shaw under surveillance for 3 years. You just walked into the middle of a federal operation. Papers rustled on her end. We intercepted communications indicating you're being set up as a scapegoat. Do not proceed to the Queen's location. Do not trust Marcus Bennett. Jonathan's mind spun. What about Emily Parker? Dr. Parker is one of ours. Deep cover. But her position is compromised. We lost contact with her 40 minutes ago. And Hope the German Shepherd. A pause. Mr. Hayes, I need you to understand something. We've been building this case for 3 years. We're days away from indictments that will dismantle the largest dogfighting network in the Northeast. 17 operations across 6 states. I don't care about your case. Where is Hope? Hope is classified as evidence. She has microchips, scars, DNA evidence linking her to multiple crime scenes. We need her to... Jonathan hung up. His phone immediately rang again, different number. He almost didn't answer. Mr. Hayes. Emily's voice, barely a whisper. I have 90 seconds before they find me. Who's they? Everyone. Vincent, Marcus, the FBI. She was breathing hard, moving. Nothing is what you think. I'm not FBI. I'm not Vincent's agent. I'm just a veterinarian whose father was murdered. And I've spent 6 years trying to prove it. Agent Chen just told me you're federal. Chen is using me. She promised me protection if I helped her build the case. But she lied. She's been feeding Vincent information to keep his organization running. She wants the network intact so she can flip it, use it for her own purposes. Marcus found out and tried to warn me. Jonathan's head pounded. Marcus is the one who shot Hope? Yes. And no. Emily's voice cracked. It's complicated. Marcus was ordered to execute Hope and 6 puppies last night. He refused. Vincent put a gun to Marcus's sister's head on video call and made Marcus choose sister or dogs. The air left Jonathan's lungs. Marcus shot Hope in the leg instead of the head, made it look fatal. Then he grabbed one puppy, Faith, and threw them both in his truck. He was supposed to dump the bodies in the river. Instead, he drove them to Manhattan, to the richest neighborhood he could find, and left them in the middle of the street, hoping someone with resources would find them. He threw an injured dog and a dying puppy into a blizzard. He gave them a chance. The other 5 puppies were shot in the head by Vincent personally. Marcus had to watch. Emily's breathing turned ragged. Faith isn't Hope's biological daughter. Faith's mother was Luna, another breeding dog. Luna died giving birth. Hope was in the cage next to her. When Marcus put Faith with Hope, Hope started producing milk within hours, phantom lactation triggered by maternal instinct. She adopted a puppy that wasn't hers while bleeding from a gunshot wound. Jonathan couldn't speak. Marcus has been working for Vincent for 5 years. Not because he wants to, because Vincent rescued his sister from human traffickers and holds that debt over him like a chain. Every dog Marcus couldn't save, every fight he had to arrange, every execution he had to witness, it's been killing him. The USB drive he gave you is real. The evidence is real. But it's encrypted because if Vincent finds it, he'll kill Marcus and Sarah both. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to know Marcus isn't the villain. Vincent is... Car horns blared on Emily's end. And I need you to know that Hope is already gone. Vincent has her. I tried to stop him at the vet, but Diane, the real FBI plant, let him take her, said it was necessary for the investigation. Hope is in a warehouse in Red Hook, the same place you just left. Vincent is going to kill her at 6 a.m. as a message to Marcus. Jonathan checked the time. 3:47 a.m. 2 hours and 13 minutes. Where's Faith? Safe. I have her. She's stable. The transfusion worked. A sob. But Jonathan, they're going to take her from me too. The FBI wants her as evidence. Chen said Faith will be held in a federal facility for 18 to 24 months pending trial. In a cage. Alone. That will kill her. I know. Emily's voice hardened. So here's what I'm proposing. I meet you. I give you half the encryption password. You get the other half from Marcus. We decrypt the files and release everything to the media. Bypass the FBI entirely. Burn Vincent's network to the ground tonight and force an immediate raid. They'll have to rescue Hope and the other dogs before Vincent can destroy evidence. The FBI will arrest us for obstruction. Yes. But the dogs will live. A long pause. My father died trying to expose Vincent. I've spent 6 years trying to finish what he started. If I have to go to prison to save these animals, I will. The question is, will you, Jonathan, thought of Sophie, his daughter's last words to him in the hospital? If you could save someone by sacrificing yourself, would you do it? He'd said yes without hesitation. Where do we meet? Emily gave him an address in Chinatown. 30 minutes. Come alone. If I see anyone following you, I disappear. She hung up. Jonathan sat in the silent car. Snow had started falling again. He looked at the USB drive Marcus had given him, at the adoption papers for Faith he'd signed without reading, at his phone, which probably had a dozen federal agencies tracking it by now. He'd spent 20 years building an empire, a reputation, a fortune. In 6 hours, he'd lose it all. His phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number, a video file. He opened it. The video showed Hope in a metal cage. Blood matted her fur. She was lying on her side, eyes closed. A man's hand reached into frame and kicked the cage. Hope didn't move. Vincent Shaw's voice. Mr. Hayes, I understand you've taken an interest in my property. Let me be clear. This animal dies at 6 a.m. You can watch it happen live if you'd like. I'll send you the stream. Or you can walk away. Forget this night ever happened. And I'll forget you exist. Your choice. You have 2 hours. The video ended. Jonathan looked at himself in the rearview mirror. When had he last slept? When had he last eaten? His shirt was covered in blood. Faith's, hopes, his own from the wall he'd punched. His $280,000 watch was gone. His cashmere coat was gone. His reputation was about to be gone. But for the first time in 3 years since Sophie and Linda died, he felt something other than numbness. He felt purpose. Jonathan put the Bentley in gear and drove toward Chinatown. He didn't call Agent Chen back, didn't call his lawyers, didn't call anyone. He thought about Hope standing in the middle of the road, blocking his car, refusing to abandon faith even while bleeding, even while dying. "I'm coming," he whispered. "I won't leave you." His phone rang one more time. "Marcus," Jonathan answered. "Mr. Hayes?" Marcus's voice was steady now, cold. "I know Emily contacted you. I know she told you her version of the story. But before you meet her, you should know one thing." "What?" "Emily Parker killed her own father." Jonathan's hand tightened on the phone. "What did you say?" "Emily Parker killed her father." Marcus's voice was flat. "Dead. Captain Robert Parker didn't die in a warehouse fire investigating Vincent. He died because Emily set that fire." "You're lying." "I have proof. Security footage. Emily entering the warehouse 30 minutes before the fire. Emily leaving. Alone." A pause. "She killed him because he found out she was stealing from the FDNY charity fund. $140,000 over 3 years. He was going to report her, so she eliminated him." Jonathan's vision blurred. "That doesn't make sense. She became a veterinarian. She's been investigating." "She became a veterinarian because it was the perfect cover. Sympathetic backstory, access to animal victims. She's been working with Vincent the whole time. Jonathan, providing veterinary care for his fighting dogs, treating injuries off the books, getting paid in cash." Marcus's breath hitched. "Hope isn't at Vincent's warehouse. Hope is with Emily. Emily took her from the vet tonight. And in 30 minutes, when you meet Emily in Chinatown, she's going to kill you both." The line went dead. Jonathan sat motionless. Who was telling the truth, Emily? Who saved Faith with tears streaming down her face, Marcus? Who shot Hope but claimed it was Mercy Agent Chen? Who promised federal protection, Vincent? Who kicked a bleeding dog? Everyone had a story. Everyone had proof. Everyone was lying. His phone buzzed. Another video from Vincent. This one showed Hope in a different location. Not a warehouse, a veterinary exam room. Emily stood beside her, stroking her head. Emily looked directly at the camera. "Jonathan, if you're watching this, you need to know that Vincent has my sister, the real reason I'm doing this." She held up a photo, a teenage girl, 17 or 18. Dark hair, Emily's eyes. "Her name is Catherine. Vincent's had her for 6 years. If I don't do exactly what he says, she dies. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." The camera shifted. Vincent stepped into frame, gun in hand. He pressed it against Hope's head. "Mr. Hayes, you have 90 minutes to bring me the USB drive and any copies of the files Marcus gave you. The meeting point is Brooklyn Bridge, pedestrian walkway, East Tower. Come alone. Bring everything, or I kill the dog. I kill Emily's sister, and I kill Emily. In that order, and I'll make you watch." The video ended. Jonathan's phone immediately rang. "Emily, did you see it?" Her voice was wrecked. "Yes. He has my sister. Not Marcus's sister, mine. Catherine. She was 15 when Vincent took her. Now she's 21. I haven't seen her in 6 years except in photos he sends me. Emily sobbed. Everything I've done, every compromise, every lie it was to keep her alive. And now he's using her to get to you. Marcus said you killed your father. Silence. Then, quietly, Marcus is right. I did. Jonathan's world tilted. My father found out I was embezzling from the FDNY charity. Not for me, for Catherine's ransom. I'd been trying to buy her freedom. But the trafficking ring wanted more. Always more. Her breathing turned ragged. Dad said he was going to turn me in. I begged him, told him about Catherine. He said he'd handle it. Report both the embezzlement and the trafficking. I couldn't let him. If the police got involved, Vincent would kill Catherine immediately. So you killed him. I set a fire to destroy the evidence. Dad wasn't supposed to be there. He came back for his gear, something he forgot. I didn't know. I didn't. She broke. I killed my father to save my sister. And it didn't even work. Vincent kept her anyway, used her to control me. For 6 years. Jonathan closed his eyes. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve the truth. And because in 90 minutes, I'm going to die. Vincent won't let me live after this. But maybe if you bring the drive, he'll let Catherine go. Maybe you can save her. And hope. And faith. Even if I can't. Emily. I've lived with my father's death every day for 6 years. Maybe dying is what I deserve. Her voice steadied. But those dogs don't deserve to die. Please, Jonathan, bring the drive. Save them. She hung up. Jonathan sat in his car as dawn approached. 4:38 a.m. 82 minutes until Vincent's deadline. He drove. Not to Brooklyn Bridge, not to Chinatown. Home. The penthouse was exactly as he'd left it 3 months ago. Dust covered the furniture, mail piled by the door. He hadn't been able to stay here after the funeral. Too many memories. The living room walls were covered in photos. Linda, his wife of 12 years. Sophie, their daughter. Family trips to Maine. Christmas mornings. Sophie's 8th birthday party, her last. Jonathan stopped at one particular photo. Sophie at the animal shelter, pressed against the glass of a kennel, staring at a German shepherd puppy with desperate longing. Please, Daddy. Please, can we take her home? Jonathan had checked his watch. Important meeting in 30 minutes. Maybe next week, sweetheart. You always say next week. I promise. Next week, we'll come back. But next week, Linda and Sophie were dead. Drunk driver. Wrong place, wrong time. The funeral was on Tuesday, on Wednesday. Jonathan went to the shelter. The puppy was gone, adopted by another family. He'd failed Sophie in life, failed her in death. Now he was failing hope. Jonathan walked to his study, opened the safe. Inside was everything Vincent wanted. The USB drive from Marcus, the adoption papers for Faith, bank statements, phone records, everything that could implicate him. And one more thing, Sophie's diary. He opened it to the last entry, the day before she died. Daddy said we'll get a puppy next week. But I don't think we will. He's always too busy. I wish he could see that love is more important than work. Maybe someday he'll understand. I hope so, because I love him even when he forgets to love me back. Jonathan's hands shook. Sophie had died thinking he didn't love her enough. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Mr. Hayes. A woman's voice. Young. terrified. "My name is Catherine Parker, Emily's sister." Jonathan stood. "Are you safe?" "No. Vincent has me in a room. He told me to call you." "He said..." Her voice broke. "He said if you don't bring the drive, he'll kill my sister in front of me. Please, Emily's the only family I have left. Please don't let her die because of me. Catherine, listen. He's coming back. I don't have time. Emily told me to tell you something." She spoke faster. "She said Hope is pregnant. 4 weeks. Vincent doesn't know. If Hope dies, 6 more puppies die with her. Emily said you'd understand what that means." The line went dead. Jonathan looked at Sophie's diary, at the photos on the wall, at the USB drive in his hand. He'd spent 3 years running from grief, running from guilt, running from the truth that he'd failed the people he loved most. Hope had stood in the middle of a blizzard with a bullet wound, refusing to abandon a puppy that wasn't even hers. Emily had destroyed her life trying to save her sister. Marcus had sacrificed his soul to protect Sarah. And Jonathan, he'd sacrificed nothing, built a fortune, lived in luxury, let his family die while he worked. Sophie's words echoed, "Love is more important than work." Jonathan made his decision. He grabbed the USB drive, grabbed his laptop, and started typing an email to every major news outlet in New York. Subject line: Billionaire CEO exposes largest dogfighting ring in U.S. history. He attached every file from the drive, every video, every document, everything Marcus had gathered. Then he added his own statement. "My name is Jonathan Hayes. Tonight, I discovered an animal cruelty operation run by Vincent Shaw. I am releasing this evidence to force immediate law enforcement action. If I die, investigate Vincent Shaw and his connection to Manhattan Police Chief Daniel Morrison. Save the animals. They're the only innocent ones in this." His finger hovered over send. If he sent this, Vincent would kill Hope immediately. Would kill Emily, Catherine, probably Marcus and Sarah too. Would kill Jonathan if he could. But federal agencies would have to act. The media would force their hand. The dogs would be rescued. If he didn't send it, if he brought the drive to Vincent, maybe he could negotiate, trade himself for the hostages, buy time, find another way. But Vincent had already demonstrated he didn't negotiate. He destroyed. Sophie's diary lay open. I wish he could see that love is more important than work. Jonathan pressed send. The email whooshed into the void. 47 news outlets, FBI headquarters, animal rights organizations, everyone. His phone exploded with notifications. Then it rang. Agent Chen. "What the hell have you done? My job, now do yours." Jonathan grabbed his keys. "I'm going to Brooklyn Bridge. Vincent has hostages. If your surveillance is worth anything, you'll be there when he kills me." Jonathan. "Wait." He hung up, turned off his phone, and drove into the darkness. It was 5:42 a.m. 48 minutes until Vincent's deadline. Jonathan had lost everything. His reputation, his safety, probably his life. But for the first time since Sophie died, he'd done something that mattered. Brooklyn Bridge at dawn. The pedestrian walkway was empty, except for falling snow. Jonathan parked the Bentley and walked toward the East Tower. No USB drive in his pocket, no leverage, no plan. Just a man who'd already lost everything. Vincent Shaw stood at the tower's base, silhouetted against the rising sun. He wasn't alone. 4 men surrounded him, armed, professional. Emily knelt on the ground, hands zip-tied behind her back. Blood ran from her nose. Next to her, another woman younger, same dark hair, Catherine, also restrained. And in a metal cage between them, Hope. The dog was barely conscious. New wounds covered old scars. But when she saw Jonathan, her tail moved. Once, twice, still fighting. "Mr. Hayes." Vincent checked his watch. 5:58. You're punctual. Where's the drive? I don't have it. Vincent's expression didn't change. He pulled out his phone, pressed a button. A gunshot cracked through the air. Emily screamed. But it wasn't Emily who'd been shot. On Vincent's phone screen, a live video feed showed Marcus collapsing in a warehouse. Blood bloomed across his chest. A man stood over him, one of Vincent's people. That was Marcus Bennett. Vincent said calmly, "He's dead. His sister Sarah is next. Then Emily. Then Catherine. Then you. And finally, the dog. Unless you give me the drive." I sent everything to the media. 47 news outlets. The FBI. It's over. Vincent. For the first time, Vincent's composure cracked. "You did what? Every video, every document, every transaction. It's all public now." In about, Jonathan checked his watch. 3 minutes. Every news station in New York will start running the story. "Billionaire exposes dogfighting ring." Your face will be everywhere. One of Vincent's men whispered something. Vincent snatched the man's phone. His face went white as he scrolled through news alerts. "You destroyed me." "Yes." Vincent raised his gun, pointed it at Hope. "Then she dies for nothing." "Wait." Agent Chen's voice echoed across the bridge. 50 federal agents emerged from vehicles, buildings, support beams, FBI, NYPD, animal control. They surrounded the tower from every direction. Vincent's men dropped their weapons immediately. They knew when they were beaten. But Vincent didn't lower his gun. He pressed it against Hope's cage. Nobody moves, or the dog dies. Chen stepped forward, hands raised. "Vincent, it's over. We have everything. The videos are already viral. You're done. Don't make this worse." "Worse," Vincent laughed. "I'm going to prison for 20 years. How does it get worse?" "Murder," Chen said. "Kill anyone here. It becomes capital charges. Life without parole." Vincent looked at Emily, at Catherine, at Jonathan, then at Hope. "This animal cost me everything. Seems fair she pays the price." He cocked the gun. Jonathan moved without thinking. Threw himself against the cage. The gunshot went wide, ricocheting off metal. Vincent grabbed Jonathan by the throat. "You want to die for a dog?" "Yes." Jonathan didn't struggle. "Because she would die for me." Vincent's grip tightened. "You're insane." "Probably." Jonathan's vision blurred. "But I spent 3 years hating myself for not saving my daughter. I won't spend the rest of my life hating myself for not saving Hope." Vincent raised the gun to Jonathan's head. "Vincent Shaw." A new voice, strong, commanding. Marcus Bennett stood at the edge of the bridge. Blood soaked his shirt. But he was alive. Barely. Sarah supported him on one side. Emily's veterinary assistant on the other. "You shot me in the chest," Marcus said. "But you forgot I was wearing Kevlar, FBI issued, courtesy of Agent Chen's task force." He coughed. "I've been recording everything for 2 years. Every conversation, every order, including the one where you told me to shoot Hope and her puppies." Vincent's hand shook. And there's one more thing you forgot. Marcus pulled out a phone. Hope isn't just evidence. She's a victim. And under federal law, animal victims of trafficking and abuse have legal status. Hope can't testify in words, but her body tells the story. The cigarette burns spelling loser on her back, the muzzle scars, the fractured ribs that healed wrong, the bullet wound from last night. He turned the phone around. On the screen, Hope's complete medical file, documented by Emily over 6 months. Every injury, every scar, every piece of evidence. You didn't just run a dogfighting ring. Marcus continued. You tortured federal evidence. That's tampering, obstruction. And with the media attention Jonathan just generated, every prosecutor in America will want this case. Vincent's gun lowered slightly. Chen seized the moment. Stand down. Vincent, it's over. For 10 seconds, nobody breathed. Then Vincent dropped the gun. Federal agents swarmed him. Handcuffs, rights. The man who'd terrorized animals and people for a decade was reduced to another criminal being loaded into a van. Emily and Catherine were cut free. They collapsed into each other's arms, sobbing. Jonathan opened Hope's cage with trembling hands. The dog crawled out. She should have run, should have hidden, should have done anything except what she did. She walked to Jonathan and placed her head against his chest, the same way Sophie used to when she was scared. Jonathan wrapped his arms around Hope and felt something break open inside him. 3 years of grief. 3 years of guilt. 3 years of running. I'm sorry, he whispered into Hope's fur. I'm sorry I wasn't there for Sophie. I'm sorry I failed her. But I won't fail you. I promise. Hope's tail wagged. Weak, but real. Emily approached, supporting Catherine. Jonathan, there's something you need to know. Hope is pregnant. 4 weeks. Ultrasound confirmed 6 puppies. Jonathan looked at the dog in his arms, scarred, bleeding, broken, and still creating life. The puppies are due in 5 weeks. Emily continued. But Hope needs surgery for her injuries. The bullet wound is infected. Her leg might need to be amputated. And there's significant internal damage. The surgery will likely terminate the pregnancy. We have to choose save Hope or save the puppies. Jonathan's throat closed. Chen stepped forward. There's a complication. Hope is federal evidence. She needs to remain in federal custody pending trial. That means surgery decisions go through official channels. That could take weeks. She doesn't have weeks, Emily said. She has days, maybe hours. Then what are our options? Emily looked at Jonathan. There's one option. If someone claims legal ownership before federal seizure is processed, they can make medical decisions. But that means Jonathan would have to prove he has rightful claim to Hope. How Hope was stolen from my family in 2019. Vincent never had legal ownership. If I transfer my rights to Jonathan as Captain Parker's heir, and if Jonathan accepts financial and medical responsibility, he becomes Hope's legal owner. Chen shook her head. That's a legal gray area? Could be challenged. Then let them challenge it, Jonathan said. Draw up the papers. You don't understand what you're agreeing to. Chen warned. Hope's medical bills will be astronomical. Surgery, physical therapy, prenatal care if you choose to save the pregnancy, plus legal fees if Vincent's lawyers fight the ownership claim. You could be looking at $200,000. Minimum. Jonathan thought of his daughter, her diary entry. Love is more important than work. Draw up the papers, he repeated. I'll sign anything. Emily pulled out her phone. I have a veterinary hospital that will do the surgery. Off books. Pro bono if needed. But Jonathan, you need to decide now. Save Hope or try to save the puppies. We can't do both. 6 unborn lives, or one scarred, tortured soul who'd survived hell. Sophie's voice echoed in his memory. If you could save someone by sacrificing yourself, would you do it? Jonathan looked at Hope. The dog who'd saved him 15 years ago. The dog who'd stood in a blizzard protecting a puppy that wasn't hers. The dog who wagged her tail even while dying. We save Hope, he said. No matter what. Emily nodded. I'll prep the surgical suite. But before she could leave, Hope did something unexpected. She stood, limped to her cage, and picked up something in her mouth. A small, bloodied cloth. The makeshift blanket she'd used to keep Faith warm. Hope carried it to Jonathan and dropped it at his feet. Then she looked at him with those ancient, knowing eyes, and Jonathan understood. Hope wasn't asking him to save her. She was asking him to save her children. The same choice Emily had made with Catherine. The same choice Marcus had made with Sarah. The same choice Jonathan had failed to make with Sophie. Love means sacrifice. Emily. Jonathan's voice cracked. If we try to save the puppies, what are Hope's chances? 5%, maybe less. The surgery would be incredibly risky. We'd have to stabilize her, maintain the pregnancy, and hope she survives long enough to deliver. Most likely. We lose both Hope and the puppies. And if we terminate the pregnancy to save Hope, 90% success rate, she loses the leg, but she lives. Jonathan knelt in front of Hope, looked into her eyes. What do you want? Hope picked up the blanket again, placed it in Jonathan's hands, and licked his face once. Goodbye. We try to save them all. Emily stared at Jonathan. That's not medically feasible. The risks. I don't care about the risks. Jonathan stood. Hope chose. She's choosing her puppies over herself. Who am I to override that? You're the human, the one capable of rational thought. Rational thought says a 15-year-old dog with a gunshot wound and advanced pregnancy should be euthanized. Jonathan's voice hardened. But Hope didn't choose rational. She chose love. So we honor that choice. Marcus spoke up, leaning heavily on Sarah. There might be a way. Experimental. I heard about it at a veterinary conference Vincent sent me to. Induced hypothermia. Lower Hope's body temperature to slow her metabolism. Reduce oxygen needs. Give her body time to heal while maintaining the pregnancy. Emily shook her head. That's used for trauma patients in human medicine, never successfully attempted on a pregnant dog. First time for everything, Marcus said. The failure rate is astronomical, and even if it works, Hope would need to be in a medically induced coma for weeks. The puppies might not survive. Hope might not wake up. What's the alternative? Jonathan asked. Emily had no answer. Agent Chen stepped forward. If you're doing this, do it now. Vincent's lawyers are already filing injunctions to seize Hope as evidence. You have maybe 6 hours before federal marshals show up with paperwork. Then we move. Emily pulled out her phone. I'm calling in every favor I have. 30 minutes later, they arrived at a veterinary hospital in Queens. Richard Castellano met them at the door, 60 years old. Gray beard, exhausted eyes. Emily Parker, I haven't seen you since vet school. He looked at Hope. And this is the dog you texted about. This is Hope. Gunshot wound, severe internal damage, 4 weeks pregnant with 6 puppies. Needs emergency surgery and hypothermic protocol to attempt saving both mother and litter. Castellano whistled. You don't ask for small favors. He gestured inside. Bring her to OR2. I'll assemble a team. Jonathan carried Hope through sterile hallways. She was barely conscious, breathing shallow. Her eyes found his once. Trust me, those eyes said. Or maybe forgive me. The operating room was blinding white. Monitors, machines, a surgical team of 5 scrubbing in. Castellano examined Hope quickly. Gunshot wound is infected. Sepsis has started. Internal bleeding in 2 locations. Malnutrition, dehydration. He looked at Jonathan. Son, this dog should already be dead. But she's not. No, she's not. Castellano's expression softened. Which means she's a fighter. Let's give her something to fight for. Emily prepped the IV lines. We'll start with broad-spectrum antibiotics, fluids, and pain management. Once she's stable, we induce hypothermia target core temperature of 32 degrees Celsius. That buys us a window to repair internal damage without stressing the pregnancy. What's the timeline? Jonathan asked. Surgery takes 4 to 6 hours. Hypothermia maintenance for 72 hours minimum. Then we warm her slowly and pray she wakes up. Emily met his eyes. If her vitals crash at any point, we terminate the pregnancy immediately to save her. Understood. No. Jonathan's jaw set. We save them all, or we save none. That's medically irresponsible. That's what Hope chose. Castellano placed a hand on Jonathan's shoulder. Young man, I respect your conviction, but if this dog's heart stops, I will not let her die to preserve a pregnancy. I will save her life. That's my oath. Jonathan wanted to argue, but looking at Hope's labored breathing, he knew Castellano was right. Do whatever you have to do, Jonathan whispered. They administered anesthesia. Hope's eyes closed. The monitors showed her heartbeat weak, irregular, but present. We're starting, Castellano announced. Jonathan was ushered to a waiting room. Marcus sat beside him, shirt still blood-stained from the Kevlar-stopped bullet. Sarah and Catherine huddled together on the opposite couch. Emily paced. Agent Chen arrived an hour later. Federal prosecutor is demanding Hope be transferred to a government facility. I'm stalling, but tell them she's in emergency surgery, Jonathan said without looking up. Tell them if they move her, she dies. Tell them whatever you need to tell them. Chen nodded and left. 2 hours passed. 3, 4. At hour 5, Castellano emerged. His surgical gown was drenched in blood. Everyone stood. We've repaired the internal bleeding, removed the bullet fragments, stabilized her core temperature at 32 degrees. He pulled down his mask. She's alive. Barely. The puppies are still viable. But what? Hope's body is rejecting the hypothermia. Her immune system is fighting the sedation. We can't keep her under much longer without risking brain damage. Emily stood. Then we warm her now and hope. If we warm her now, the shock could kill her and the puppies. Castellano ran a hand through his hair. We need 72 hours for her body to heal enough to survive rewarming. She's only been under for 5 hours. What happens if we keep her under despite the rejection? Organ failure, starting with the kidneys, then liver, then heart. Marcus spoke quietly. How long does she have? At the current rate of deterioration, 12 hours, maybe 18. The room fell silent. Jonathan looked at the surgical suite's window. Through the glass, he could see Hope on the table. Tubes, wires, monitors showing heartbeats, 7 of them. 1 mother, 6 puppies. There has to be something, Jonathan said. There is one option. Castellano's voice was grim. A procedure called emergency cesarean with simultaneous maternal life support. We deliver the puppies 5 weeks premature, remove the strain on Hope's body, and focus all resources on saving her. Would the puppies survive at 5 weeks? Premature puppies at 5 weeks have roughly a 20% survival rate. With intensive neonatal care, maybe 40%. We're talking incubators, tube feeding, round-the-clock monitoring, and that's for healthy puppies. These have been gestating in a traumatized, malnourished mother. Emily stepped forward. I can do neonatal care. I have the equipment, the experience. You'd need to care for 6 premature puppies for 4 weeks minimum. No sleep, no breaks. Castellano looked at her. Can you handle that? I killed my father. I owe 6 lives to the universe. Castellano turned to Jonathan. And you'd need to fund it. Neonatal intensive care for 6 puppies, plus Hope's recovery. We're talking $300,000. Minimum. And that's if everything goes perfectly. Jonathan thought of his penthouse, his cars, his fortune built over 20 years. Do it. Jonathan, do it now. Castellano nodded. Prep for emergency C-section. I need every available hand. They moved Hope to a larger surgical suite. The team expanded to 8 people. Neonatal equipment was wheeled in tiny incubators, warming lamps, feeding tubes smaller than Jonathan's pinky finger. Emily scrubbed in. So did Marcus, despite his injuries. Even Sarah offered to help. Through the window. Jonathan watched them work. Castellano made the first incision. Hope's abdomen opened, uterus exposed. One by one, they removed the puppies. 6 tiny bodies, eyes closed, no bigger than Jonathan's fist. None of them were breathing. Emily took the first one, cleared its airway, rubbed it with a towel. Come on, baby, come on. Nothing. She tried rescue breathing, chest compressions with 2 fingers. The puppy's mouth opened, a tiny gasp. We have one. Castellano handed her the second puppy. Same process. This one responded faster. 2 alive. Third puppy, no response. Emily worked for 5 minutes. Nothing. Time of death. 6:47 a.m., Castellano said quietly. 4th puppy breathing immediately, strong. 5th puppy weak, but responding. 6th puppy, Marcus, took this one, the smallest, a female, barely half the size of her siblings. He cleared her airway, rubbed her, breathed for her. No response. Marcus, she's gone, Emily said gently. No. Marcus kept working. Compressions. Breathing. Compressions. Marcus. Hope didn't give up on Faith when everyone said she was dead. I'm not giving up on this one. He breathed into the tiny puppy's mouth one more time. Her chest rose, fell, rose again. We have 6, Marcus whispered. All 6. But the celebration died instantly. An alarm shrieked from Hope's monitors. Her heart had stopped. Castellano grabbed the defibrillator. Clear, electric shock. Hope's body convulsed. No heartbeat. Again, clear. Shock, nothing. Emily started chest compressions. Brutal, desperate, rhythmic. Come on, Hope. You didn't survive 15 years of hell to die now. Come on, 1 minute of compressions, 2, 3. Castellano's face was grim. Emily, we need to call it. No. She's been flatlined for 4 minutes. Even if we get her back, there will be brain damage. I said no. Emily kept compressing, tears streaming down her face. Hope, please. Your babies are alive. All 6 of them. You did it. Now wake up. Wake up and meet them. Please. 5 minutes. 6. Jonathan pressed his hands against the window. Don't leave them. Hope, don't leave me. 7 minutes. Castellano reached for Emily's shoulder, and Hope's monitor beeped. 1 heartbeat, then another, then steady rhythm. Emily collapsed against the table, sobbing. Castellano checked vitals. She's back. Weak, but back. Marcus carried the smallest puppy, the one he'd revived, to Hope's head, placed her next to Hope's nose. Hope's eyes didn't open, but her breathing changed, deepened, like she could smell her daughter. Castellano closed the surgical incisions. She's stable, for now, but the next 72 hours are critical. If she survives that, she might wake up. And if she doesn't, then we make peace with what we've done. They moved Hope to intensive care. 6 incubators surrounded her 6 tiny puppies, fighting for every breath. 1 family, broken and rebuilt. Jonathan sat beside Hope's bed, held her paw. You did it, he whispered. 6 healthy puppies. Well, 5 healthy and 1 tiny fighter. Marcus named her Faith, after the first one you saved. Hope's paw twitched. Or maybe Jonathan imagined it. The machines beeped steadily, heartbeat strong, breathing regular. But Hope didn't wake. 72 hours, Castellano had said. Jonathan settled into the chair. I'll wait, he told her. However long it takes, I'll be here. The puppies squeaked in their incubators. Tiny sounds of life. And somewhere in the darkness of her coma, Hope held on. 72 hours became 96, then 120. 5 days. Hope didn't wake. The puppies thrived, all 6. They grew stronger each day, their eyes opening, their legs finding strength. Emily had named them Faith, Hope's first rescue puppy, and the 5 new ones, Justice, Mercy, Grace, Valor, and Liberty. Liberty was the smallest, the one Marcus had revived. She was half the size of her siblings, but fought twice as hard. Jonathan never left. He slept in the chair beside Hope's bed. Ate when Emily forced him. Showered in the hospital's staff facilities. His company sent urgent emails. Board members demanded meetings. He ignored everything. The media firestorm consumed New York. Tech billionaire exposes dogfighting empire dominated every news cycle. Vincent Shaw's trial was expedited. Federal prosecutors had enough evidence to put him away for 25 years minimum, but Jonathan didn't care about Vincent's sentence. He cared about Hope's eyes opening. On day 6, Dr. Castellano entered with grim news. Her brain activity is declining. We need to consider that she may not wake up. No. Jonathan, I understand. She's not gone. Look at the monitors. Her heart is beating. She's breathing on her own. She's fighting. Castellano's expression softened. Sometimes the body fights after the mind has left. I've seen it before. The body can continue for weeks. Well, she's not gone. Jonathan repeated. That night, he brought the puppies to Hope's bedside. One by one, he placed them against her. Let them nurse, even though Hope was unconscious. The puppy's instincts were strong. They latched on, suckled, filled their bellies, and Hope's body responded. Milk production increased, heart rate steadied. "You're still in there," Jonathan whispered. "You're still fighting for them." On day 7, Emily entered the room with tears streaming down her face. Vincent Shaw was sentenced. 28 years, federal prison, no parole. Jonathan nodded but didn't look away from Hope. "There's more," Emily continued. "The judge awarded custody of all rescue dogs to a newly established foundation, Hope Valley Animal Sanctuary. The board consists of you, me, Marcus, and 3 animal welfare experts." "That's good." "Jonathan." Emily sat beside him. "The foundation needs funding. The initial rescue operations alone will cost $2 million. Housing, medical care, rehabilitation for 247 dogs. Take whatever you need from my accounts. You've already spent $800,000 on Hope and the puppies. Your company stock has dropped 34% since the news broke. Your board is threatening to remove you as CEO. Let them..." Emily grabbed his hand. "You're destroying everything you built." "I built it wrong." Jonathan finally looked at her. "I built a fortune on neglect. Neglected my wife, my daughter, everything that mattered. I won't make that mistake again. Sophie would be proud of you." Jonathan's eyes burned. "Sophie died thinking I didn't love her enough. I can't fix that. But I can honor her memory by loving someone with everything I have." He looked at Hope. "Even if she never wakes up, she taught me what Sophie tried to teach me. Love isn't convenient. It's not something you do when you have time. It's everything, or it's nothing." Emily squeezed his hand and left. That night, Jonathan fell asleep with his head on Hope's bed, his hand on her paw, and dreamed of Sophie. She was 8 years old again, running through a field with a German Shepherd puppy, laughing. "Free. Daddy, look. She's so fast." Jonathan tried to call out, but no sound came. Sophie stopped running, turned to him, her expression serious beyond her years. "You can't save me, Daddy. I'm gone. But you can save her." She pointed to the puppy. "She's waiting for you to tell her it's okay. Tell her what's okay. To live, to trust, to love again." Sophie smiled. "Just like you need to." The dream dissolved. Jonathan woke to Emily shaking his shoulder. "Jonathan, look." Hope's eyes were open, not fully, just slits, but open, and looking directly at him. "Hope." His voice broke. Her tail moved. Once. Castellano rushed in, checking vitals. "This is remarkable. Brain activity is normalizing. Pupil response is good. She's coming back over the next 48 hours. Hope regained consciousness fully. She was weak, could barely lift her head. But she was aware. The first time they brought the puppies to her, Hope cried, actual tears rolling down her scarred face. She licked each puppy, counted them, ensured they were all there. All 6. Then she looked at Jonathan and did something that broke him completely. She placed her paw on his hand and squeezed. "Thank you." Marcus visited on day 9. His injuries had healed. Sarah was with him smiling, healthy, planning to study veterinary medicine. "Vincent's assets are being liquidated," Marcus reported. "Everything he owned, properties, cars, offshore accounts. The court is allocating it to victim compensation. That includes you. I don't want his money. It's not his anymore. It belongs to the people he hurt, the dogs he tortured. And you're one of them. You spent nearly $1 million saving Hope and her puppies. You deserve compensation. Jonathan looked at Hope. I don't need compensation. I got what I paid for. Marcus smiled. The prosecutor wants you to testify. Tell your story, how you found Hope, what you sacrificed to save her. It'll help ensure Vincent never sees freedom again. I'll testify. Emily appeared with news. The media wants to do a feature. 60 Minutes called. So did Good Morning America. They want to interview you, show Hope and the puppies, highlight the sanctuary. Jonathan hesitated. I'm not doing this for publicity. I know. But publicity means donations. Donations mean we can save more dogs. The sanctuary needs funding. Jonathan, your story could help hundreds of animals. He looked at Hope. She looked back. Those ancient, knowing eyes. What do you think? Girl, should we tell people what you taught me? Hope's tail wagged. Okay, Jonathan told Emily. We'll do the interviews. But on one condition. Hope doesn't perform. She's not a spectacle. She's a survivor. We treat her with dignity. Agreed. 3 weeks after surgery, Hope took her first steps. Castellano had saved her leg barely. She limped heavily, would always limp, but she could walk. The puppies were thriving, growing fast, loud, energetic, a chaos of tiny paws and sharp teeth. Liberty, the smallest, stayed closest to Hope. Never straying more than a few feet, Hope seemed to favor her too, the one who'd fought hardest to live. Jonathan's company board did remove him as CEO. He didn't fight it. Instead, he liquidated his shares, walked away with $58 million after taxes and penalties. He donated $40 million to Hope Valley Sanctuary, kept $18 million for himself, enough to live comfortably and fund Hope's ongoing medical care. The media attention was overwhelming. But it worked. Donations poured in. Volunteers signed up. The sanctuary found land in upstate New York, 100 acres of forest and meadows. Construction began immediately. On a cold morning in early spring, Jonathan received a call from Agent Chen. Vincent Shaw was attacked in prison. 3 inmates. He's in critical condition. Jonathan felt nothing. No satisfaction, no relief, just emptiness. Will he survive? Probably, but he'll wish he hadn't. Word got out what he did to the dogs. Prison doesn't look kindly on animal abusers. Good. Chen paused. Jonathan, I owe you an apology. I used you, used Emily, Marcus, everyone. I was so focused on building the case that I forgot about the victims. I'm sorry. Are you still FBI? Yes, but I've been reassigned. Animal Cruelty Task Force. Permanently. My job is to prevent another Vincent Shaw. Then you're doing what you should have done from the start. Yes. And Jonathan, thank you. For doing what I couldn't. For putting the victims first. She hung up. That afternoon, Emily brought Faith, the original puppy, fully recovered, to meet Hope. The 2 dogs touched noses. Hope licked Faith's face. Faith curled up against Hope's side, and Hope closed her eyes, content. Jonathan watched them and thought of Sophie, of Linda, of the life he'd lost, but also of the life he'd found. Hope, he said quietly, I need to tell you something. The dog's ear twitched. I'm taking you home. Not to my penthouse. To the sanctuary. 100 acres where you and your puppies can run. Where you'll never be caged again. Where you'll be safe. Hope looked at him. And I'm staying with you. I'm done with the corporate world. Done with the fortune building. I'm going to run the sanctuary. Save more dogs like you. It's what Sophie would have wanted. Hope's tail wagged. Is that okay with you? She licked his hand. Yes. The sanctuary opened 6 months later. 247 dogs liberated from Vincent's network. 73 more from other rescues. 320 animals given a second chance. And at the center of it all, Hope, her 6 puppies. And a man who'd finally learned what his daughter had tried to teach him. Love is the only thing worth saving. 1 year later, Jonathan stood on the hill overlooking Hope Valley Sanctuary. 320 dogs ran freely across meadows that had once been impossible dreams. Hope limped beside him, gray now touching her muzzle, but eyes still bright with purpose. Liberty, the smallest puppy who'd fought hardest to live, bounded through the grass with her 5 siblings. All 6 had been adopted by families who understood what rescue truly meant. But they visited every weekend. Home was wherever Hope was. Emily ran the medical wing. Marcus managed operations. Sarah at his side studying to become a veterinarian. Catherine worked in outreach, her voice finally free after 6 years of silence. Jonathan had lost his fortune, his reputation, his corporate empire. But standing here, watching Hope play with puppies she'd nearly died protecting, he'd never felt richer. Sophie had written in her diary, "Love is more important than work." Hope had proven it with her life. For 3 years after his daughter's death, Jonathan had been a ghost, walking, breathing, but not living. One dog standing in a blizzard, refusing to abandon a dying puppy, had taught him something wealth never could. Family isn't blood. It's who you refuse to abandon when abandonment would be easier. Gratitude isn't what you receive. It's what you give when you have nothing left to give. Have you ever witnessed an injustice so cruel that it changed everything you believed about the world? What did you do?